Do you have someone in your life, maybe a colleague or even a family member, who says things like, oh, come on, I never said that? Or you're just being oversensitive? Or maybe, I don't know why you're making such a big fuss about this. Well, if so, you might be experiencing gaslighting. Karlyn Purcell is here now to talk to us about this kind of manipulation that can become very dangerous. Hey, Kar, can you just start by explaining what gaslighting is?
Yes, so gaslighting is a form of psychological abuse where a person or a group makes someone question their sanity, their perception of reality, or their memories. And people who are experiencing gaslighting are often made to feel anxious and unable to trust themselves. And there are multiple ways in which we experience that, Tracy. First is countering. This is when, folks say that, hey, are you sure it happened this way? Are you sure you're remembering things accurately? This is where they question your memory. There's also withholding, where folks refuse to engage in the discussion, in the reality of what actually happened. And then there is trivializing, where folks go directly to, you're making a big deal. You're too sensitive. Why are you always bringing that up? This is not how things happened. This is where folks totally invalidate your concerns and your feelings.
Definitely been there. Let's talk about denial. Would denial be one of the ways to gaslight a person?
Absolutely. This is where, folks actually deny things actually happened, or, they question, they tell you that you forgot, or I'm not sure that this is how this happened. And there's also diverting as well, in the sense of removing the focus of the conversation or the concern to something totally different and something that did not happen. So, for example, they put the onus back on you and say, hey, Karlyn, you got another crazy idea from one of your friends. Where is that coming from? And there is stereotyping. And this one, actually, there's an article in the American Sociological Review that actually states that folks can use stereotyping, intentionally use stereotyping based on your gender, your race, your ethnicity, to gaslight you, again, making you feel that your perception of reality isn't correct, or your memory of how the events happened isn't as it was.
Yeah, women get that a lot. This whole idea of women being crazy or overly emotional, or you guys are insane. It's like that's there's something there. There's some stereotyping happening there and gaslighting at the same time. So where are we gaslighted the most, Kar?
Honestly, we are gaslighted in every single area of our lives. The thing is, a lot of us have normalized that behavior. We're used to folks, telling us that, it didn't really happen that way. So we make it a part of our reality or part of our interaction with others. So it's important for us to understand that it happens at work, it happens in relationships, it happens at home. And another example of that is, a doctor trivializing a person's, health concern. So telling them that, it's all in your head. The pain is not as strong as you're thinking it to be. Or in some cases, we have racial gaslighting, and that applies to groups of individuals based on race and ethnicity. And an example of intersectional gaslighting, Tracy, is, and a very clear example that's coming up for me, is Serena Williams. When she told doctors during the birth of her daughter she was in pain, right? This is where you see the racial gaslighting, because the stereotyping where, a lot of folks think that Black women do not have a pain, or we have a very high threshold for pain. So this is another example of how intersectional gaslighting can show up.
It's also shown up with, there's an Indigenous woman, I know that her case is being highlighted in Canada, and she was in pain in a hospital setting, and she was being completely ignored. So, which is when things get dangerous, right? So this is what I want to know. You're in the moment, you're having the conversation, you are being gaslighted, you're being taken on a ride, you're being told that you do not know what you know. What do you do in that moment?
Oh, and this is where courage comes in, Tracy. Give yourself permission to feel all the feelings. And I know it can be hard because, like I said, we normalize it. We feel it in all different areas of our lives. So sometimes going against the grain in terms of accepting the gaslighting, we will feel a little bit uncomfortable. But give yourself permission to stand in that moment of courage and to own your truth. This is the beginning of how we can take our power back from being gaslighted.
Yeah, you got to speak up, right? And if you're dealing with a narcissist, they always say just get out, because the narcissist is never going to lose. Would you ever be in a situation like that with gaslighting?
Yes.
Do you ever just get out and say, I know what I know, and I'm not going to engage with you anymore?
Absolutely. It is really up to you to understand what is happening here, especially if it's a stereotype driven one, Trace. It's important for you to protect yourself, own your truth, but ensure that you're prioritizing your safety first.
And then what steps can the person take after?
Again, we cannot control what people do, so the steps I'm going to provide, the onus is on you. Again, taking that moment to stand in your courage. Keep a secret diary. Record times, dates, how things actually happened. Another thing is to talk to a trusted friend, a counselor. Seek professional help. It's extremely important to know that we do not have to go through this alone. The other thing is to keep a voice note, keep voice memos, just on your phone. The second something happens, just press record it, and have it with you. And of course, taking pictures. Again, use the tools that you have at your disposal so that you can record it. We cannot control what folks say or do, Trace, but what we can control is how we react and the steps we take after we realize or we recognize that we have been gaslighted.
Really good information there, Karlyn. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate it.